I'm going to start with a quote. Just hear me out and listen to this. It's a game changer for a woman when she is willing to lose anyone, but no longer willing to lose herself.
That's a great quote. Why do you think that's so hard for people?
Because I believe that women never put themselves first. Welcome to Talk 50 to Me.
Talk 50 to me.
Let's do it again.
That quote, and there's a few more that we might share in today's episode, I find that the more women talk about choosing themselves over choosing others, the more you become aware of that it's just ingrained in us. You know, it's Margaret Cho talked about that we're given dolls as children. Like we are basically given toys that we are taught to take care of from a tiny, tiny age.
Yeah. But that is the thing. I don't think that women realize how much of how we feel has been baked into us without our permission at all. And I think that we're told that putting ourselves first is selfish. And I recently realized that the greatest gift I gave myself was decentering everyone from my life so that I could put myself first, so that I could develop a sense of radical self-love. And I think when you do that, you realize how to love everyone else from your true self.
Yeah.
But we're not allowed.
No, and also I do believe that is the gift of menopause. If menopause is going to give you anything, it gives you an awakening of, hold on a minute. Is this now my time? Because everything else is now like no reproduction, no, needing to find a partner, needing to find a career, all of that is gone. And that part of your brain has shrunken on purpose. So to enlarge the other part of your brain, which is about self-care and taking care of, which is another quote that I maybe I should just say it right now before we go into our guest, because I think it's so fucking cool that menopause happens when childbirth becomes a danger to something nature wants to preserve. A woman stops creating life to create something even greater. Menopause protects the wisdom by preserving the teacher.
It's a good way to look at it. I also think, for me, because it was so different 15 years ago when I first went into menopause, that I felt invisible, and then that invisibility became a superpower. And I was like, wow, no one's paying attention to me. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can pay attention to me. And that's when things shifted.
Yeah, see, I like that you came at it out of basically you didn't have any other choice but to focus on yourself because nobody else was focused on you, where we are, Gen X is now coming at it with, wait a second, pay the fuck attention to me and to us because we have something to fucking say.
Yes. And you know who has something really important to say today?
Yes.
Our guest.
Our guest today. All right. Our guest today calls women's inability to love, honor, and value themselves a global crisis. Let that sink in for a second. Imagine the power we could have just by loving ourselves. She is a clinical psychologist for over 27 years, and in her 50s alone is a published author, a podcast host, and one of the most influential coaching voices in the world, helping hundreds of thousands of women break out of their misery patterns. She also happens to be a total badass known as the Midlife Muse. Please say hello to Dr. Amanda Hansen.
Yay!
ladies. That's so beautiful. Wow. Thank you. I'm
Please,
honored.
that's all you. You gave us
Yeah.
all that. We even started this episode with your quotes because I am constantly blown away by all of the positivity and affirmations for women during this time that is so needed in this world. Can you give us one word to describe your 50s?
Powerful.
Nice.
Powerful.
Wow. I like that.
And can you expand on that, where that comes from or how you came to that word?
I think up until that point, I was still, as much as I was working through not being attached to the patriarchal structure, I was raised in it, bathed in it. It was coded inside of me from the time I was a little girl. So I think I spent the first 50 years of my life looking underneath every piece of rubble, patriarchal rubble, and saying, no, I'm pulling my arm out from that one. And no, I'm pulling my leg out from this one. And I feel most powerful now because I've actually stood up out of all the rubble, been able to identify who I am with all the languaging that propped me up for so long, that promised me a perfect life and gave me so much of the opposite. So I feel so powerful that I have gotten myself up out of all of that and recreated my own completely different narrative that, with all the best intention, my mother, my grandmothers, no one in my vicinity was able to help me construct. So it feels really powerful to build this brick by brick, even when a lot of the women in the world, the patriarchalized women who don't even realize they're still buried in the rubble, are looking at me like I might be insane.
Yeah.
Staying the course, it's a powerful, powerful declaration of self.
I think it's cool how you do it with so much positivity because I know as a boomer, a lot of my self-discovery and self-love came with a lot of anger and being so fucking pissed off at the patriarchy. Like every day I uncover another wound, and I know that radical self-love is the answer to healing myself and to healing other people. But yeah, I love that you do it with so much positivity, and I love that you coined your midlife muse. How did that come about?
Well, before I answer that, I do want to clarify that when I reached 40 and everyone around me was starting to panic in my friend group about the fact that we were all turning 40, and my husband's a bit older, and I thought, why am I supposed to be panicking now? He didn't even bat an eyelash when he was 18. And so I will tell you, from 40 to probably like 47, 48, it was rage of the double standards. I was pissed. So that last part that really helped me completely untether and deconstruct from it was anger, for sure.
Yeah.
I've softened into this beautiful, powerful place now, and it is a different energy calling women forward.
Yeah.
But my anger and rage served a very good purpose for a long time for me. It's why I went gray.
I mean, I'm sure I would have been angrier, but I got sober at 40, so I spent 10 years just trying to figure out, like, oh, I didn't even know I was in perimenopause or any of that. So I was too busy cleaning up to get angry, so I had a 10-year delay of anger. But actually, it's in my 60s that I'm the most, everything was so different 10 years ago. We didn't have women like you speaking publicly all the time.
Yeah, that just came about because actually it's interesting. I think that we often, when we think about muse, we think about it having to be a man has a muse that he gets inspired by to write music, to paint, to create art. That's how the story I've always heard it. So I realized women could be their own muse rather than it having to be this word that inspires men to do things in life. What if we turn that word? I love taking every single word that the patriarchy has used and turning it and looking at what I can do with it in my own life. So it's this idea of like, what if I become my own muse? What if I'm the one who's so turned on by myself? What if I'm the one who is so inspired? What if I'm the one with the ideas for my own life rather than it needing to be that I'm the muse to someone else? So I played with that idea, and that's how
I
we
love
got
that.
here.
Do you have a merch line? Because you should have "Be Your Own Muse" on T-shirts and hats.
I absolutely should. Can you? Yes.
you
Thank
can.
you.
It's all yours. I think that's brilliant, and I would wear that all the time because I do think that is at the core of what your 50s or any time you have a problem in your life is about. To just, you must. Nobody else cares. No one's coming to save you. You must save yourself and prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, you also said, so from 40 to 48, the rage, and then you said, and that's when I went gray. Can you talk about it? Because the whole gray hair conversations that are happening right now all over.
They'll happen forever.
And they're going to happen forever until we change it, until we are able to say like, yes, this is natural. This is what we're going to fucking do. There's certain people that want to cover it for forever, and that's fine. That's more power to them. But I want to speak to how from your rage, it then made you, you moved into this muse and you moved into this, I'm going to be empowered by what naturally is happening to me, whether that's gray hair, whether that's symptoms of menopause, et cetera.
Yeah, I just decided I really trust Mother Nature. Mother Nature is where I go to ground for everything in my life. And I thought, why wouldn't I trust her with me? Why wouldn't I trust her on this process of aging? I don't really believe she makes a lot of mistakes. So because I have such profound trust in how we're still even here and things keep happening and the earth keeps spinning, even though we've betrayed her and we've harmed her so much. I wanted to play with that dynamic for myself. And I thought, well, Mother Nature seems to have done a beautiful job with my husband's gray hair and his gray beard. And why don't I try that on for size? But I realized I really had to disconnect from any messaging that was going to try to contaminate my journey. So it has taken really squeaky clean boundaries with what I consume and absorb. And at this point, now I'm well beyond needing to be as squeaky clean with what can come in, because I am so immune now, because I can see it for exactly what it is. It's just another marketing scheme. If we can make her afraid, she'll buy something.
Yeah.
But I'm not operating from a baseline of fear. So you can't sell me anything.
It's also really interesting, two things. Well, they are creating products now that stop your hair from growing gray. And I was like, so dumb. The fascinating thing about gray hair to me was I dyed my hair red for my whole life. And then by the time I hit my 50s, I thought, oh, this coloring doesn't suit me at all. And I let my gray hair grow out. And that is what naturally my coloring was. But when you were saying Mother Nature, I find it so fascinating that the one good thing we have in this world is called Mother Nature. But this extends also into how you feel about your skin and aging and wrinkles and plastic surgery and all of that also, correct?
Correct. Yes. I've always just been, I was built extremely thin with a very high metabolism. I always say the only good thing my father gave me. God rest his soul, but truthfully, he was MIA my whole life. But as the story goes, he had great metabolism and he was really skinny. So whether skinny is good, bad, not even the point. It's just I've always run on the thinner side. And I told this story many, many years ago that it was not feminine and I didn't have a feminine body and I wasn't really, I looked like a stick. And I got bullied in high school and they used to call me, all kinds of names for being so thin. And the nurses thought I had an eating disorder. She'd call me down to the office and I didn't, but it created a different kind of feeling. And so I was so vulnerable that I made the decision thinking it was from a place of power at that time to get breast implants.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
I've had them removed. Yes, I've had them removed. They're no longer a part of me. But there was a period of time where I thought, well, that'll help me feel more feminine, because I had no sense that true femininity was built inside.
Yes.
I thought, okay, femininity is lipstick and high heels and breasts and I don't know, long hair, whatever we want to say. Everybody interprets it differently. I still was under the patriarchal spell of believing true femininity and beauty came from stuff you did or had on your body, as opposed to that quiet sensuality that lives within us. So that took a lot of excavating for me to do. So in this process of deciding at 40, like, well, I'm not going to get Botox. I'm not going to do fillers. I'm going to let my hair go gray. well, it sure as hell doesn't align at all, but I have breast implants, so these bad boys have to go. And when we were coming home from the surgery, I remember it was only an hour and a half from our home, and my husband was driving me home, and when I was in the recovery room, I couldn't stop weeping. And they kept trying to ask me, are you in pain? What's happening? And I could barely talk. I was just tears. I felt like from thousands of years ago, just were coming off my face. And on the whole drive home, my husband kept saying, oh my gosh, did I hit a bump? Am I going too fast? What's wrong? Please say something. And all I could get out was, I'm just crying for the version of me and any woman who ever thought she had to put herself at risk for a surgery or something toxic to be more beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish that the version of me who did that would know the power I know now. And it was just so much grief, not just for me, for just women in general, that we are willing to die for acceptance. I don't know, for the male gaze, for a momentary flash of beauty. For what?
Well, we're also so
heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking because I also I've been offered 2 free facelifts. I'm like, no fucking way am I cutting my face open for you. And I say to women all the time, I know that it's your right to do what you want to do. I just want you to understand the why behind what you're doing, because it is baked into you. I had the opposite story. I was made fun of for having big boobs at 10, and I had a breast reduction. I wanted them off. I was like, just leave the nipple. I don't even need anything else. And so I get it. And it really is, we're constantly, our containers, this meat suit is picked apart as if that's all we are. And women really need to understand that it's not your fault that you feel that way. You came out of the womb that way, hearing it,
I did I know it's coined, sadly, man on the street, but I did that in New York City several months ago. Imagine.
I think it should be Muse on the street, by the way. I'm giving you all your catchphrases.
So I'm changing it all. I was walking, asking random men and women, do you remember the first time someone made a negative comment about your body?
Oh my God, I saw that. It was amazing.
We couldn't even clip it all in. Every single woman, yes, 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 yes.
No
the
men.
No. And if the 1 or 2 men were like, yeah, they told me I had big ears, but whatever. I just blew it off. It's just amazing how we're policed, I think, from the time the average girl, 5, 6 years old starts to hear something. And we build an entire life based on being pleasing as if we're ornaments rather than these instruments of our own being. And so I think it's a really, really, really difficult trap to unravel from. And it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it really does. Again, it all goes back to radical self-love. I mean, we even do it to babies. It's like, look at that chubby baby.
Yeah, you already judge them if they have rolls on their thighs and they're babies that have soaked up nutrition in order to survive. It's crazy. So
I even think about the gender reveal party. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, what is it for? It's a baby. It's a human consciousness. It doesn't need to be prepared for being a girl or being a boy. It just needs arms and it needs
it's a
warm
fucking
milk
construct.
because it's to sell stuff. It's to sell gender reveal parties.
Yeah.
It's all about selling. Everything is about selling, right? So because you basically, it sounds like you headed into your 50s a little bit more aware than maybe most of us. Can you maybe speak to when you got into your 50s, was it what you thought it was going to be? Because you went into it with a little bit more of awareness and consciousness of just heading into it naturally and letting your symptoms be natural. And, because, for me in particular, I felt like my 50s, I slammed into a wall and I just went, whoa, this was not what I thought this was going to be. So I would love it if you could share maybe a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it advice or tips about how you got into your 50s, what feels like with a little bit more of a smoother transition.
Absolutely. I think in the same way that what I always equate it to for me is when I was giving birth to my children, I didn't want to have the epidural or any pain meds. I wanted to have midwives. I wanted to feel it all. Again, trusting Mother Nature, trusting my body. In the same way that I knew that pain from first stage labor when the baby is descending until you push in second stage, that middle phase is called transition. And that transition is the double peaking contractions that feel like you might die. And it only lasts about 90 seconds to 3 minutes. Nonetheless, it feels harrowing. And I was prepared for it. I knew that. I'd already been teaching natural childbirth. But when I got to it for the first time myself, all I kept thinking and saying to myself is that this right now that you are moving through, Amanda, it's not killing you. It's burning off. And the version of you, the young woman in you, part of her is being released because you're stepping into an era and a territory you're going to need this kind of power for. Because what you'll face being a mother, you're going to need to be one hell of a warrior. So I understood that Mother Nature built that in for a reason. And also, to have my loved ones in the room there witnessing it and understanding the power of a woman's body, because that's often so muted. So that was really big for my loved ones to be a part of. But then also, I went into midlife the same way. Anything that comes, Amanda, we're going to breathe through it. Just like my periods, I would look at my blood as it was coming out in the toilet and say, shed what does not serve me any longer. Shed it all. And so as I woke up in the middle of the night with hot flashes for 8 weeks, I already had like a huge fan by my bed. I was sleeping naked with the air conditioning on 65, and I would just go to my fan 3 times at night when I would wake up in that wet pool. And I would surrender. I put my arms back. I surrendered my neck up, and I opened my legs, and I stood there in front of this full fan, and I said, let burn away what I cannot take for my crone era. Let it burn here right now. And I was in ceremony over it. And I had 2 other symptoms that I saw as ceremony. One of them was my depth perception was during the time of the hot flashes. I had a couple of months where my depth perception, where if I was walking in an unknown room, not my home, a room I wasn't familiar with, I couldn't tell the difference between where the carpet ended and maybe the hardwoods began. So what I told myself was, Amanda, you've been walking really fast your whole life. Slow down. Pay attention. Be present with your life. So I decided to make that a ceremony. And then the dry eyes, I had that for a while too. And so I created this ritual. I bought a warm eye mask. I started every morning with the warm eye mask and every evening. Where before I was starting my day like, okay, what do I have to worry about today? What's on my to-do list? So just making the symptoms, what is the symptom? It's a professor. What is it here to teach me? I can't bypass this right now because where I'm going requires this kind of self-holding and self-containing and power. I don't want to run from it, and I'm not telling a story that it's scary.
Wow, it's so powerful. You were obviously so meant to do what you do. I almost feel like Source and the universe has been channeling through you for quite some time.
Yes.
For
Yes.
sure. I can feel, you're pulling in from, which is amazing to be able to connect to that. I think we all have that ability, but we push it away. You may have answered this a little bit, but I wonder what your advice is for the next generation coming up into their 50s.
I would say you have a choice, and you can decide to be white knuckling it, terrified and filled with terror that you're losing so much. And I would suggest, what if you loosened your hands from the grip and surrendered into, wow, I'm so curious what I'm going to learn, what I'm going to find in this next chapter, and coming into it with so much excitement and delight and I guess awe and wonder, because I don't think we can simultaneously hold the energy of surrender, awe, and wonder and be terrified. So it's like, I would say, if you feel fear, go source for underneath the fear. What is the message underneath the fear? More often than not, it was someone else's fear you absorbed, or it was some marketing machine trying to get you to buy something. It's not, you probably don't really actually have fear if you sit with what is so scary about being an aging woman and do the work around that, because you can change the narrative if you want to.
What if it all works out?
Yeah, what
What's
if it
the
all
worst
works
that
out?
could happen? What if it all works out? Okay.
Beyond your wildest dreams.
Exactly.
So it's
Constance-
time. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you do it.
Oh, you do it.
No, you do it.
Okay. So it's time for our last question, which is always a surprise question. So
love
we're
it.
going to dig in here and hope that it's something juicy just for you. And here we go. The question is, oh, you got an easy one. Favorite book about being 50? Favorite book about being 50?
I would have to say my book. I wrote it. It was the book I wish it was the book that I could have found. It's called Muse, the Magnetism of Being a Woman Who Stops Abandoning Herself.
Oh, that's
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes, we love it. And yes, I say that's a really good choice.
That's awesome. It was so quick and wonderful having you here. You dropped so many beautiful pearls of wisdom, and I hope people really just learn how to hug themselves after listening to all of this, because it really is what gets you through anything. Is just stop waiting for someone else to love you and just love yourself.
Yeah, and you truly are our muse. You are every
Yeah.
woman's muse. You've done it.
Thank you so much
Makes
for,
me cry.
for talking to us today.
I know. I was like
Constance
crying the
never
whole time.
cries. Thank you so much for joining us. We've loved having you.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. It's my honor.
Okay. She's
Exactly.
so, right? Like she blows my fucking mind.
Yeah, you just can't get on Instagram what you need to get out of a woman like that.
Yeah. And I mean, she does these, like couple days, weekends, summits. And now I'm just like, oh, I probably need to go to that.
Yeah, I think, she was talking about that letting go of things that don't serve you. Was that it, Alex? I'm asking our producer. Letting go.
And also letting go of the fear. We fear
Letting go of the fear and how we fear change. Yes.
Change
And-
is fucking hard.
Well, I think it's in so many aspects of things. We hold on to things because letting go of them is even scarier. Who am I without my fear of aging? Who am I without this? I have to face who that is. And I would like to say it's much easier to face and way less scary when you just do it. It's the same as, quitting drinking. A lot of people don't want to quit drinking because they're like, who am I without that? You're amazing without that. That's who you are.
I know, but it's anything, ending a relationship, ending
Yep.
a friendship, ending an addiction. I mean, everything is about change. But when we do change, we're changing because we are putting ourselves first.
Let go
So
and let
sometimes
God.
you're forced, right?
Yes.
You're forced to put yourself first. And sometimes you don't have any other choice. But I also wanted to just say that I didn't mention that the quotes that I said at the beginning of the show are Dr. Amanda Hansen.
Yes, she's amazing.
And because it's just being the midlife muse and her talking about muses were always for men. I didn't even think about that it's right. Women don't go around talking about their muse. They talk about mentors,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. But even more importantly, I think what I summed up from this entire episode was be your own muse.
Yeah.
Be your own muse. What a fucking concept.
Inspire yourself,
Yeah.
basically. That's hard.
I love it.
I love it. But I'm
think it's
saying
amazing.
that's hard. I mean, I would like to look in the mirror every day and be like, you're fucking great.
Well, you should start out that
Yeah,
way
I know
every
I
day.
should. I know. These are, again, things that you're supposed to do. And I do it sometimes.
Do you want me to call you and remind you in the mornings to do that?
Yeah, I want to
Hey, go look in the mirror and tell yourself how awesome you are.
I want to write it in lipstick.
She also mentioned a word that we talked about on Instagram, which was crone. And we had asked for people to give us a new word for crone because we weren't sure if that was a good one. And we got a lot of answers to that question. And at Sharon FF offered goddess, and at MCZAJKA79 offered matriarch.
Right, but a lot of you out there love the word crone, so much so that actually at parksmama.uk said, I love being in the crone zone.
In the
I feel
crone
like I should
zone.
have done that with a British accent.
I love
because-
being in the crone zone.
Is that Australian?
Listen, fuck off. I'm British. That is it for us today. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes. We're happy to have you.
If you want more TFTM, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our email list to get TFTM updates and announcements. If you have a question, DM us on Instagram at Talk50to Me or email us at talk50tomepod@gmail.com. And whatever you do, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Which should be ours.
See you next Tuesday. Bye now.
Talk 50 to Me with Heidi Clements and Constance Zimmer is produced by Alex Beatty, recording engineer Aaliyah Walker, editing by Zaleen Hesse, music by Matt Friedman, production services provided by A4S Podcast Studios, a Talk 50 to Me LLC production distributed by the Forward Network.